He's the man in the back of the room, y con la voz de Dios. He's told U.S. presidents where to sit, CEOs where to go, and stars when to shine. But as he likes to point out,
who cares? I care.
It's true, she cares, and so does he. He's entertainment and production agency owner and meeting and event master, Anthony Bollotta. She's his Agent 99, and you're about to be Bollotta-FIDE.
Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Bollotta-FIDE, the one and only pod about events, entertainment, and engagement. I'm Anthony Bollotta. I'm here every week with the always optimistic, always delicious Alexina Cristina Postolinis. Opa. Alex.
Hello, Anthony. Happy almost spring.
Happy almost spring. Just a few short weeks away.
Yes.
And the clocks get pushed ahead and we lose an hour of sleep, but we gain sunshine and that might be going away. Who knows?
No, I refuse. I will rebel.
Yeah, well, there's going to be a lot of rebelling, I think, happening in the next few years. It just feels like that. I think we've already started rebelling.
Yes, we have.
What a crazy, chaotic time we are in, I have to say.
I tell you, it is a lesson in taking a deep breath and being grateful for the good and doing what you can to make things better without allowing yourself to slip into that dark rabbit hole of despair.
And chaos. Well, that's why I think it was a good time to ask our guest to come back with us and speak with us because probably nobody knows better than he, and probably nobody knows better than he how to deal with some of the chaos that we are feeling these days. Voila, here we are, trying to be positive. It's great.
That's my blood type. How did you know? How did
be
you
positive?
know that?
Because you're positive.
Ah.
Yes.
Sometimes I'm going to tell you, I've been working on it hard, especially right now. I've been really every single day trying something to be positive.
Yeah, I think that's the point, right? I mean, I think we're all in that boat, trying to quiet the craziness, the voices that are going on.
Are you hearing them again?
Always. Yeah.
I thought we got that fixed.
Damn voices.
Darn it.
Shut up! That's how I feel. Oh my goodness. So why don't we bring on our guests again?
Okay, before we get started, if you're a new listener, please take this time to like and subscribe.
Go ahead. We'll give you a sec.
Why, thank you!
For the second time, because we've had him before. I shouldn't say it that way. That's really not how He's been a guest on our show before.
Yes, he has.
Goodness.
So shall I?
I'm going to shut up.
No,
Yes, go
don't.
ahead.
I love it when you
Blunder?
do your thing. No, I love it when you do your thing. It makes me very happy. But to move it forward,
Thank you.
I am going to say I am, especially given the times, very excited to have him back on the pod. As a reminder, he's a keynote speaker, performance coach, author, podcast host, and founder of MindShift Labs. After going on a mission to reclaim his ability to access presence, he realized he was building a simple and easy to implement methodology to help individuals and organizations unlock the power of presence. Since we last met, he has authored the book, New Rules for the Future of Leadership. Please welcome back to the show the wonderful Mike Lee.
It's good to see everybody. Thanks for having me back.
It's good to have you back and to see you. Thank you for joining us and for speaking with us and taking time out of your busy day to, chat with us.
Of course, I'm glad to be here.
So we have this new thing that we do since we spoke to you last. It's called 10 Quick Questions. We like to get to know the personality of our interviewees a little bit better. And this, gives our audience a chance to know you a little better as well. Do you mind playing with us?
Let's do it.
Great. So 10 quick questions.
10 quick questions.
10 quick questions?
First answer that comes to the top of your mind. Alex keeps time. We have 2 minutes. I'll ask the questions. Question number 1. What color do you wear when you want to feel powerful?
Black. It's the only thing I have in my closet.
You and I are very much alike, Mike.
Spoken
Cuts
like
down on decision fatigue.
every thespian I know has black in their closet. What emoji do you use most?
The prayer emoji.
And we need that more than ever. All right. Charisma, uniqueness, nerve, or talent? Charisma, uniqueness, nerve, or talent? Which of these has served you most in your career? Charisma, uniqueness, nerve, or talent?
I would say nerve. I don't feel like I have any of the other three.
I'm going to argue with you. Just saying.
I know how that feels for sure. All right. How many ice cream flavors are in your cone?
Depends on where I'm at.
Oh, well, do tell.
Let's say one.
One. Okay.
Like to keep my ice cream simple.
Okay. You don't like mixing your ice creams.
Vegan and vanilla.
Really? That is about as simple as you can get with ice cream. What is the last thing you said that you shouldn't have said?
This is going to take longer than 2 minutes. I don't know. I feel like I try to be so intentional. Maybe it'd be something that I didn't say to somebody else, but it'd be something that I said to myself. And that would probably be some sort of inner critic, self-criticism about not being enough.
I hear you on that too.
And that probably could have come out 20 different ways.
Right. You suck. Boy,
Yeah.
You smell bad today. Wow, that really was a bad move. I could think of like a million.
That I might have said in my head to somebody that I was next to in a yoga class.
Oh, okay.
That would have been me if I were in that class with you.
I've not only seen wrong moves in yoga, I've heard them.
That's true. That can
Yes,
happen.
right? Okay, number 6. Name one guilty pleasure.
Just wine.
Wine, okay. Like in the wine that you drink or the wine that you emote?
Wine that I drink.
Okay. Just want to
I
clear that
knew
up.
we could be friends. I knew this.
Which Disney princess could be your soul sister?
I have no idea how to answer this. Let's say Nala
Okay.
from The
is
Lion
she?
King.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's an interesting answer.
Yes, it's very out of the box.
I can't even think of. Well, I guess not. Minnie
Well, there's-
Mouse.
Well, she's not really
Cinderella,
Cinderella.
Nala, and that's all Nala probably doesn't even count for most people, but that's all I can even really think of.
I say that counts.
Okay. But you could rattle them off, couldn't you, Alex?
I could rattle off a lot. Now that the child is older, there are newer ones that I'm not as familiar with.
Okay. It's my favorite straight man question to ask. So I apologize in advance. Well, no, I didn't apologize in advance. I apologize after the fact. All right, number 8, we'll move on. Which decade is featured most on your playlist?
The 20s.
Like now, 20s?
Yeah.
Okay. What
A
do
lot
you-
of melodic, organic house music.
organic house music?
Yeah.
So it's rhythmic.
Yeah. Listen to a lot of it when I'm working. I think it helps me focus. It helps with just getting into a flow state. Helps block out distractions, especially noise canceling headphones.
Wow. What do you like least about your job?
Not being able to spend as much of my time in the white space of creativity as I wish I had the bandwidth to.
And the white space being the open space, the flow space?
Yeah, I think we're most creative and our best ideas come through in the white space, that space of nothingness, when we're actually not trying to do something. It's where we create the space for us to just be a channel for whatever we're supposed to bring out into the world. And I wish I had created more space for that.
Yeah. The fact that you could even create that space, though, is a blessing, right?
And also the fact that you recognize that space.
Yeah. All right, last question. What adjective in your eulogy describes you best?
I would hope that it would be loving.
It's beautiful.
I don't know if that's what it would be, but that's what I hope it would be.
I hope so too. Have you written that yet? Have you written your eulogy?
I have written my eulogy years ago. I need to update it and do it. I actually just took a group of executives through an exercise where they had to write out their eulogy. And I realized, like, when I was doing this, that I haven't done it for quite a while. And it's something that I need to update.
So why? Tell us why it's important to update it.
I haven't. The first time I did it was probably 15 years ago, and I haven't done it since then. So it was probably one of the first, like, really impactful exercises that I did. I was probably 25, 26 years old. And I remember doing it. I was living in Milwaukee, and it was just, it was an awareness exercise as to what really matters.
When you do it, I'm sorry, Anthony, when you do this, are you doing it, writing it slowly and with intention, or are you doing it as a form of automatic writing to see what comes from that inner quiet space that we can
Good
access when
question.
we're not thinking?
I think the best way to do it is to start with stream of consciousness. Just set a timer and get a pen to paper and just write, and don't let your pen come off the paper. And then after you let all that flow through you, then take that and go back and revise it and be more intentional about what you want to craft. But I think especially when we're doing something like that, when we remove ourselves from technology and it's just you, the pen and paper, you remove friction for things to come through. There's not as, and especially if you use the rule where the pen doesn't stop writing, even if you're repeating the same things, you remove judgment, you remove blocks to things that want to come through.
So, could you elaborate a little bit more? Is that really about you just don't stop writing? It's really you're trying to get that stream of consciousness, even if you're not really thinking anything, you just continue to just write and hope that you catch up mentally?
I don't know if there's a sense of catching up. I think it's a sense of emptying what's in your mind and going beyond the analytical mind into the unconscious, which is, I believe, where a lot of our truth lies. And so the exercise, to simplify, is really set a timer, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And you can do this for other things, besides writing something intentional like a eulogy. It might be a way to process something or a way to understand how you want to approach a certain situation, or to process feelings, process emotions, and really get out of. I find that it's a great exercise to use when you might be ruminating about something, and getting it out of your head and onto paper creates a sense of separation and objectivity with the thoughts that you're having.
Mm.
And
I
so set a timer, get a pen, paper, disconnect from technology and distractions, and just write until the timer goes off.
I find that when I do this, I have a journal dedicated to automatic writing, that the things that come out are surprising in a beautiful way. Has that happened to you? Like, you had no idea that was gonna come out?
Yeah, certain times for sure.
But it seems like the point is really not so much about what you're writing, just getting it out, right? You're not, I mean, I, personally, my issue with writing is I can't get in that flow. I
Yeah.
stop and I look at what I've done and I change it. And rather than get it all down and then come back to it later, that is so hard for me. I want to stop and fix before I move on. And that is the complete opposite of what you're suggesting, I assume. Sounds like.
Yeah, I think it comes down to intention and like really creating different. I don't even know what you would call it, because I'm not a. I mean, I've written a book, but I'm not a professional writer. But I would assume it is something along the lines of like getting the ideas out, and then being able to be more structured about it. It's like part one is an idea dump, and part two is structuring the ideas into content that is clear and concise, and you're able to communicate the message.
Hmm.
It's also a really great way that I have found to get over this feeling that we have to be perfect, number 1, but also perfect out of the gate. I was doing this exercise the other day, and as I was writing very rapidly, the word creep came out. But I unintentionally spelled it Kreep. But I didn't change it because I thought there's a reason for this. And I went back and I looked up the meaning of Kreep, and it tied in perfectly to what I was writing about that I didn't know I was going to write about.
Oh, interesting.
Hmm.
Hmm. So it's been a minute since we saw you last, and we're just wondering, how is it going? The podcasting, the coaching, the writing. How's it all going?
It's going well. The podcast has been put on hold, but focusing, I'm really, when we first connected, I was primarily delivering keynotes, and I'm really shifting the focus of my business to be not necessarily less about keynotes, but thinking about it more as a holistic leadership development consultancy, and going deeper with individuals and in small groups. And, example was it, and I don't know how many organizations are open to things like this yet, but I think it will be the future. A few months or last month, I did a deep dive session with a small group of leaders talking about mental health and trauma and how it impacts leadership and culture. And it was phenomenal. And so I'm looking to do more work like that with leaders who are open-minded, who are willing to challenge the status quo and really do the deep work in order to find the impact and fulfillment and the influence that they're looking for.
Wow.
Are you noticing an uptick in requests or demand as of late?
I don't think at scale people are ready for that yet, especially in a professional setting. I think this is a very unique group that I had the opportunity to work with.
Hmm.
But I do think our conversation around trauma is going to be trauma and mental health will be where, the well-being conversation was 10 years ago. If that makes sense. I think
Hmm.
we're at the very forefront of this. And I think eventually, especially with the younger generations who are throwing around, I remember 10 years ago or so, I was running a basketball camp, and there were these girls having lunch, and they were talking about anxiety and and terms around mental health. It was just part of the conversation that they were having. I was like, this had no way would have happened when I was in middle school, right? And so it's these kids who are going to be coming into their professional lives with a completely different level of awareness and expectations as to what they want to get out of their professional lives. And I think leaders and organizations have to be prepared to meet that moment when it comes.
Wow, that's awesome.
Are we more stressed out as a civilization, as a culture? Are we more stressed out?
I think we are. I mean, I think just the mere fact that there's a book. There's been several books actually that have been written about this, and it's around the generation that is growing up with phones and how it is all having all these impacts on their mental health, from diagnoses across the board, from ADD to anxiety to
Mhm.
other diagnoses. I can't remember the exact title of the book, but and I think we're at the very beginning of seeing the impact of that long term. And so, yeah, I think we are. I think, we just live in a world that is we're always on. We're always on. The expectations are higher, and the velocity of this is only gonna increase. And so I think we are, to answer your question, are we more stressed out? Yeah. I mean, I just was writing an article the other day, and came across some research, I think from McKinsey, that said 70% of the CEOs that they interviewed in this survey were considering leaving their job to take one that better supports their well-being. Right. And so, I mean, to me, that's a significant number. That says a lot.
Mhm.
So I think, yeah, we are more stressed out
Mm.
across the board.
Do you have any advice for the attachment we have to these little devices and how to get away? Because I do find that it does increase an ADHD level of existence.
Yeah. Like, I mean, some of the research behind it shows that, a lot of the apps that we use are essentially designed to give us micro hits of dopamine. And so when we're on these all day long with likes and engagement and content and getting these little hits of dopamine, we deplete ourselves from it. And so I think asking yourself a question every time you pick up your phone, and that question is, what is my intention? It's like you can look at the number of times you pick up your phone throughout the day, and it's like it's insane how many times we pick up our phone throughout the day. It's like, I mean, I could look right now and see, how many it's what, 1 o'clock on the West Coast, and I want to see how many times I have picked up my phone. 82 times today. And
Wow.
there's no way that I have picked up my phone 82 times with intention today. Right. And so I think asking yourself that question every time you pick up your phone, it's like, what's my intention, and is what I'm gonna do right now actually, does it need to be done in this moment?
That's
Right.
beautiful advice.
Because I think we're not. I've also learned that me personally, and I think a lot of other people, it's like it's used as an escape to not deal with the feelings that we are dealing with in the moment. Like, we're standing in line at the grocery store, we're doing whatever it is. We have an instant escape from our feelings in our pocket. Right. And so I feel like we have to really be intentional around that, because that can just compound over time. Um, from a practical standpoint, one thing that I started doing, I guess I've been using it since last spring. There's an app called Opal that will essentially lock you out of whatever. You can create certain blocks that contain apps, and you can lock yourself out of certain apps on your phone throughout the day. And for me, this has been incredible from the standpoint of just not not using my phone for exactly what I just shared before, from the standpoint of using it as a distraction to escape
Mm.
whatever I'm dealing with in that moment. So I think that's a really practical thing. Is it's an app. It's called Opal. It's like $100 a year. Probably the best app that I have used on my phone in probably since I downloaded my first meditation app.
Wow. Do you catch yourself? Do you find that you're trying to get into an app and realize, oh, I'm locked out? Or by this point, are you really you get it and you know what you're locked out of when?
Yeah, well, the interesting thing that I've noticed is that it's actually almost retrained me, from the standpoint of, in the beginning, yes, I would. I'd pick it up and I'm trying to go on Instagram and you're completely locked out of it. This is different from setting app restrictions within the settings of your iPhone, which you can override easily. You can't override Opal unless you delete the app and go through this whole process. It makes it significantly harder um, to get back into these applications. And so I have noticed that it has almost retrained me to know that I just don't have access to this during the day, almost as if it doesn't exist.
Mm.
And I'm locked out from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'm completely locked out of LinkedIn, Instagram, my email on my phone, Facebook, Twitter, everything on my phone. Um, the
That's a
challenge comes in where it's like, oh, I have something that I want to post on one of these platforms. And, as you know, what I do for a living, it's important for me to be creating content. I have to do it through a desktop app, which is not always the most convenient for a bunch of different reasons, but it's forcing me to be more organized and intentional around how I'm creating content.
you're locking yourself out for 8 hours a day for the business day?
Yeah, and then usually 5 o'clock rolls around and it will send anything that you missed through, and then I just automatically go into another block. I mean, it's drastically cut down the time that I'm spending on my phone.
Mm.
That's amazing.
So the last time that we were talking, you pointed out that all of the chaos around us, whether consciously or subconsciously, affects us. And so I wonder, how does it affect us, we mortals? How does that all of that chaos impact us?
I mean, I think the first thing is, from a stress essentially narrows our window of focus and prevents us from divergent thinking. So being in that creative state of mind, and it can be a good thing if there's something that a certain level of stress can be a good thing if it's helping us lock in on something, if it's helping us focus on something. But when we push beyond that and we're in this chronic state of stress, all sorts of things manifest from that, from health issues to, just our cortisol level raises, all sorts of different things happen when we're in this constant state of chronic stress.
It's not healthy.
No.
No.
It's not good for the heart or the blood pressure or the mood, right? It's not really good. But some of us don't realize it's the stress, right? I mean, because it's subconscious. So is it a reality that um, the stress that or the chaos that's happening around us, people are being impacted? They don't understand why. They don't even know it, and then they react in a way that is maybe out of line with their character, or is a result of feeling anger or sadness that's really a result of the chaos. Am I making sense here?
Yeah, I'm following you. Yeah,
So
I mean, I think it compresses our ability to act and lead with intention. think we're constantly, and that's why we have to operate with a higher level of awareness, especially if we're in a leadership position.
Mm.
Really, it will it puts us into the state of reactivity versus intention. And it is a lot of it is due to, part of it's, it's our own internal skills, our emotional intelligence, and the awareness that we develop, but it is also tied to our environment. And that's one thing that I've really been thinking about myself lately, is like how I used to, my background is coaching athletes and playing basketball in college, and everything was about the internal skills, the mindsets, the habits, the belief systems that we developed. And I've realized that doesn't necessarily always translate to the knowledge space, being a knowledge worker, right? That when you're on the basketball court, it's different when it's a physical activity to be able to leverage some of those things. But when you're in a space where you're having to use so much cognitive capacity, our environment really does play a role in shaping our internal state.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Uh, how's the book doing? New Rules for the Future of Leadership. So you wrote that, if I remember correctly, 2 years ago?
It came out, I think,
Or was
end
it
of
last?
2023.
Yeah. So, okay.
Been a
So it's
while.
been a while. So how is it doing?
It's going well. I mean, I think the thing that people like about it the most is that it's very straight to the point. The stories are there, the research is there, but there's no, I feel like I read a lot of books, and like this 250-page book could have been written in 90 pages. And so I tried to write it in 90 pages.
Mm.
And I think that, and it's short, the stories resonate, and it's actionable, and I think those are uh what people like about it.
And
So
oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. It not to be disrespectful at all. I read the book. I agree with it. I loved it, but it does sort of fly in the face of what we're seeing right now from a leadership perspective in this country. So, are you finding that in corporations and businesses, it's not flying in the face? That people are still uh, understanding that leadership is about service to others? It doesn't feel that way in the government right now. So I'm wondering if you're noticing that still remain in the business space or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the organizations that I'm working with, like, they understand that there's a reason that we're working together, and they're looking to elevate those principles within their organization or develop those skills. And so I think it just depends on the people that are interested in your work, and where their values lie.
Hmm. Interesting, though. At one point, it felt like w- there was more of a desire to follow this path of leadership, but it just does feel more divided. That there are some that understand it and some that just don't and don't feel the need to. Probably never will.
This is true.
Yeah.
Um, what about meditation? We talked a lot about that last time you were on, and I feel like I still pigeonhole it. But there are many, many ways to meditate, right?
Yeah, I think everybody's gotta find what works for them.
Could you give us just a couple of examples of meditation that might not be sitting with your legs crossed and your arms reaching out and you're humming? Is there anything else that we can do when that just feels way out of our out of our comfort zone?
Yeah, I would say the first few things that I would share to somebody who's, I guess, somebody who is saying to themselves, I know I should meditate, but I can't deal with the chaos around me. I can't deal with all the distractions. but I know I need to create this space for myself. I would say the two things would be just going for a walk without your phone, without any technology. Do it somewhere where you have access to nature, and just try to walk and be present. Feel your feet on the ground. Focus on your on the senses around you. Feeling the air on your skin, whatever you smell, your feet as you are planting them on the ground. Going from your heel to your toe. Um, and just go for a walk and do it for 10, 15 minutes. I'll do this sometimes when I'm going out with my dog. I'll go out for a walk, and there's an app called Insight Timer.
Mhm.
Essentially, there's all sorts of different meditations on there, but what I use it for is you can set reminder bells that go off at certain intervals. So let's say I'm going to go for a 20-minute walk. I will set the intervals to every 2 minutes, so the bell goes off every 2 minutes. And what that bell does is it's simply a reminder to bring myself back into the present moment.
Mm.
So I'll do that and just go for a walk. Um,
It's a wonderful app. I love it.
yeah, yeah. The second thing that I would say, and I maybe shared this last time I was on here, I'm not sure, but when I first started a meditation practice, um, I was like the preachy vegan, but I was preaching about meditation. And there was a girl that I was dating, and she was kind of in the same boat that we were talking about. She was like, I know I should meditate and I should do this. Once in a while she would, but what she would do was she would go out on these long runs, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 miles long with no phone, no music, just in nature by herself. And she was incredibly self-aware and operated with a high level of emotional intelligence. And I think that's because she used these runs as her meditation, right? And so I think we have to look at it from the standpoint of like, what's the goal? Like, what are we trying to get out of a meditation practice? Because there are different avenues to developing more self-awareness, to regulating our emotional state, to creating more awareness, right, of our bodily sensations, and so that we can regulate ourselves better. And so I think we have to ask ourselves that question, and then figure out what works best for you. For some people, it might be a yoga practice that is not a fitness yoga class, but one you have a really good teacher that understands the foundations of a practice and teaches it almost as a moving meditation versus a workout. That might be an avenue for you, because I think we're a lot more comfortable. For most of us, we're a lot more comfortable dealing or being in our bodies than being in our minds. And
Mm.
so that might be a bridge to a practice for you. It definitely was for me.
So movement can actually be an assistant to this. It could actually help to perpetuate a practice of meditation. Getting physical first could lead to that. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I think that it's a great point, because what a lot of the gurus will tell you is that you should meditate first thing in the morning, right? And there is, like, I understand why, and there's certain reasons why, because of the brain state that you're in for some people. But for a lot of people, you wake up and you're instantly hit with anxiety, right,
Hmm.
about what you have to do for the day. And so even the guy who's the founder of Headspace, which is one of the most, it probably is the biggest meditation app that there is the first one I started using like 11 years ago or so. Um, he, even before he meditates in the morning, and he like lived in a monastery in India and did the whole like Buddhist thing, he actually goes on his rowing machine for I don't know how long, 15, 20 minutes or whatever, before he meditates, because the neurochemicals that are released after exercise are conducive to setting up our brains to be in a better state to get benefit from a meditation practice. So you think about like runner's high, whatever you get after a workout, your brain state in that moment is going to be more, you're going to be more apt to be able to be in the present moment of a meditation practice.
Mm.
Be more relaxed, be more centered, be more grounded, and you're going to get more benefits from it.
Do you find that you switch up your meditation depending on the day or how you're feeling in the moment? Does that guide how you're going to meditate, whether it be active or a passive meditation, a more sitting mindful meditation?
I would say that it's changed over the years. And it used to be getting up and first thing getting a workout in and then doing meditation before I start my day. Now I'm doing it as part of my morning routine. Coffee, reading, meditation is how I start my days.
How much time do you dedicate to meditation a day?
It's not a ton. I'm not some guru. I'm not sitting for 45 minutes every morning. I'm really only at like 10 to 15 minutes a day.
Okay. But you also have things to do, right? I mean, there are things I think I would have a hard time at 45 minutes. It just, at that point, it starts to feel like things are waiting for me. I mean, I don't think I would ever get to 45 minutes. Maybe I'm cutting my legs off before I even start, but it just seems like an impossible amount of time, especially in the morning.
Yeah, I think you got to build your way up to it. I would definitely not recommend somebody start out at 45 minutes. I think people should start out at 5
Mm-hmm.
and then build your capacity. It's like building a skill, building a strength, and really starting slow and stacking it from there.
Is there a threat of doing too much meditation, of it becoming what was the word we used yesterday?
It can be addictive. I find
That's
that it
it.
can be addictive being in that beautiful space, whether it's an active meditation or a still meditation.
Is there a concern that it could become addictive?
I mean, I look at addiction on a spectrum, and I look at addiction through the lens of trauma. And so I say that because when you're talking about being addicted to meditation, I would say if you're in that state and you're in it purely as an experience, not as a way to dissociate from something that you're not dealing with, then I think there's no harm in it. But there are people who use spiritual practices as a way to dissociate from real problems in their life, and they stuff it all down, and they stuff it all down, they stuff it all down, then it comes out.
Spiritual bypassing.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think if as long as you're not using it as a way to escape from something, as you would alcohol or whatever, you name it, right? All sorts of things that can be addictions. I don't think that there's any harm to it. I think it's a beautiful thing to create that skill, to have that mental space.
I'm curious, and thank you for asking that, because somebody sent me an article several years ago about how damaging, and this was supposedly from a scientific point of view, how damaging meditation can be. And I said, please send it to me. And I sent it to an instructor of mine because I was in a very spiritual class. It was interesting. So that's why I wanted your opinion on
And
it.
what was the premise of it?
Oh my gosh, I'd have to go back and reread it. Because I read it again. This was shortly after, less than a year after you were on the podcast last time, so I'd have to go back and find it. But the premise was the dangers of meditation.
Mm.
I think I have seen this article. So I will share a caveat with this. If somebody is experiencing PTSD or complex PTSD and they are having intrusive thoughts about trauma that they went through, or they are in a state where their nervous system is so dysregulated that that when they get up out of a meditation session, they feel worse than when they sat down. That is harmful for you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I know that because I was in that state during part of COVID, where I got to the point where I was like, this is not good for me. And I actually stopped for probably, I don't remember exactly how long, but there was a period of time where I wasn't, right? And I was just practicing yoga and talking about earlier about us being more comfortable in our bodies and our minds, right? I was using yoga primarily as my meditation, or surfing, or getting in nature, or whatever it was. And so there is some research around that, and that is true for a certain demographic of people who are experiencing severe trauma. It can be counterproductive.
In what way? Is it really just about squashing it all down and not dealing with it through meditation? Is that the issue?
From this, let's say you went through some sort of trauma from the standpoint of you were in a car accident, or you saw somebody assaulted, or you yourself were assaulted or sexually assaulted, whatever it is. Um, when you sit down for meditation, if you are re-experiencing that trauma every time you sit down to meditate, you're just re-traumatizing yourself and driving that experience deeper into your brain. And so it's counterproductive from that standpoint.
Makes sense. Thank you for explaining that. What is the difference between awareness and focus?
I think how do I answer that? I think, well, focus, I think, is our ability to lock in on a certain task. Awareness is more abstracted. I'm trying to think of another word for awareness. I guess it's our cognitive presence as to our surroundings, or our situation, or our environment, our own internal state, our own physiology. It's like the cognitive, um, being in a place of objectivity with that.
Hmm.
Focus is being able to lock in on a singular task and execute on that task to completion. I don't
And
know if I answered that in a way.
no,
Mm-hmm.
you did. Um, Awareness can lead to better focus.
Yeah, I think so. I think when we're talking about mindfulness specifically, and we put it in the bucket of performance, I think lots of times we do talk about our ability to focus, our ability to sustain focus for long periods of time. But
Mhm.
in our environment that we are living in, we're surrounded by constant distractions and disruption and change and all these things we've been talking about that everybody on here is experiencing. And so I think what's key is to operate with sustained awareness just as much as sustained focus. And what I mean by that is we have to be aware of when my attention drifts, when I get pulled out of the moment, when I open up a new tab on my Chrome browser to go research something, and 30 minutes later I'm, looking at new homes to rent or whatever it is, you know. It's like having the awareness to know when our minds have drifted and then redirect our attention and energy back to the task at hand.
And are you finding are you using this when you're going through your leadership and you're working with leaders? Are they receptive to this?
Receptive as to what? Like these two modes of operating?
Yes, and the need to be aware and not always hyper focused on one thing.
Yeah, I think so. And I think especially when you're in a leadership position, it's really having situational awareness and being able to look at different situations or environments or dynamics between employees or teams or within your culture from like a very high level, and being able to um, see the situations through a lens of empathy, right? And bringing that level of awareness into it.
I I have so much to say about empathy because I just read a book about it. It was a book of arguing empathy, uh, not for it, but against it.
Okay.
And but that could be like a whole nother conversation about empathy, I'm sure.
Well, I actually think empathy is overrated, um, to a certain extent. I think we need it, but I think compassion is more so where it's at from the standpoint of and approaching it with a sense of awareness. Like sometimes this person needs empathy. They need to just be seen and felt and heard in that moment. But if you stay in empathy for too long, you're allowing them um, to not take action and move forward with something. And so, to me, compassion is where we're combining empathy with solution-oriented action, and that's where the secret is.
Well, and that's also where being aware lies in that you know when the difference, you know when to make that transition. And
Exactly.
I want to add that as an empath, as a very empathetic person, the danger of that can be is that you do get so caught up in the other person's energy that
Yeah.
it can, if you don't have protection practices in place, it can have a very negative effect on your psyche, on your energy, and it can be very draining.
Totally agree. I've been there before.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that I would vote for the expulsion of the word or the concept
So,
out of the English language, but I do get that it can be it could actually stress you out as an individual giving empathy, or you could get so wrapped up in what's happening that you lose yourself. I
A really
believe,
big challenge in healthcare. Therapists, doctors, physicians,
yeah.
mhm.
nurses, really big challenge.
I mean, I would hope you wouldn't get rid of that word because then you'd have to get rid of me. It's a big part of who I am.
Never, 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 never. I recently picked up a Mel Robbins book. Are you familiar with Mel Robbins at all? Do you read any
I'm
of her
familiar
stuff?
with her, but I don't really follow her content.
So I'm just reading something called uh, let the let them the
Yeah,
let
oh,
them
yeah, yeah,
theory.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the let them theory. But in this book, she talks about the 5 second rule, which makes a lot of sense to me, and it actually is something that you're really kind of talking about here yourself. The idea that when you can't get motivated, you can't get focused, you can't start something, you just don't feel like it. She suggests just counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you go. And, it seems a little simplistic, but I tried it this morning. I was sitting there eating my oatmeal, reading the news, just wasting time thinking to myself, I really have to get going now. But I just kept there reading the news. And I finally said to myself, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up. And I did. It was kind of easy. but it got me off the couch and got me to the next thing I needed to do. And I just thought I would share that because sometimes the most practical things are the easiest things to do. And this to me seemed like an easy trick. What do you think?
I'm familiar with it. I haven't used it really, but from a not from a theory standpoint, but from like a philosophical standpoint, I agree 100% that complexity is the enemy of execution.
Mm,
And I think the more simple we can make things and the our ability to take action increases for sure.
thank you for that. So we've come to the part of our interview where we have to wind down. I got the little chat message a few moments ago. And so we didn't get a chance to do this with you last time. We'd like to ask you our Bollotta-FIDE 5.
The Bollotta-FIDE 5.
5 questions that hopefully get to the core of how you operate on a daily basis. So the first question is, what is your golden rule?
What is my golden rule? I guess I don't know if this is a golden rule, but I would say one of the things that I try to do every day, I look at, I ask myself, did I do something to go after my dreams? Did I do something in service to others? And did I do something to fill myself up? And I guess those are 3 things that I'm trying to do every single day. I don't know if I guess my golden rule out of that would be do something every single day to take care of yourself.
Which answers number 2, quite honestly, because the question is, what is one daily habit that you have that you strongly believe contributes to your success? So is it fair to say it's one of those 3 things contributing to?
I would say the number one thing would be doing something to take care of my physical health every day
Mm,
in some way, shape, or form.
great.
I think it just has a compounding effect on everything in my life. I can't get a workout in, it affects my mental health, it affects my sleep, it affects everything. And so being able to commit to that every day is really beneficial.
Mm. I can't agree with you more. And I don't know where in the process I went from, do I have to work out today, to if I don't work out today, I'm not going to feel great. Which is where I'm with you on that too. If I don't feel myself, it's I guess it's something to strive for, because so many of us don't really want to get started, and getting started is hard. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Um, sorry, I could go on forever. Number 3, when no one is listening, what are the things you're telling yourself?
When no one is listening,
What is some of your self-dialogue?
things that I'm working on, things are things like I fully trust myself no matter what. I fully trust myself no matter what the external says. That's definitely something that I'm working on.
Mm.
Okay. I'm just going to say this right now. You're my hero. What a wonderful thing to tell yourself every day.
I'm working on it. It's easy to
It's
trust yourself when everything's going well, but when chaos surrounds you and you can find that the trust within yourself, it just has an impact on everything. Your relationships, your stress levels, just dropping into a place of complete trust and surrender.
What does that really mean? Does it mean you trust that you'll do the right thing? Does it mean you trust that you have the ability to do whatever it is you want to do?
I think it's a trust that the work that I have done is enough. it's a trust that I will be taken care of no matter what.
Mm.
Um, and I think it comes from the fact that, during, we got into some of this and you heard my talk, a couple of years ago,
Mhm.
part of one. And this comes from the fact that in the last 10 years of my life, there have been so many things that have happened that are so outside of my control that I'm just at this point where I just raising the white flag and I just give up. It's like, and also telling myself that, you know, removing judgment from so many things
Mhm.
from the standpoint of like, I don't necessarily know what's best for me, and really just trying to detach from that and be in a place of trusting the path that I'm on.
There's
Uh,
a saying that I heard recently, and I don't really know if I think it fits in, but I love it. I'm always enough and I'm never too much.
I love that.
And I'm beautiful
And
and
I'm
you like me.
smart.
That just feels like,
Gosh darn it.
gosh darn it. Uh, is trust faith?
I think it can be. It
It
can be.
sounds it
Yeah.
sounds like it might be. Faith in oneself, faith that things will work out, faith that uh, you know, overall humanity is good, faith, you know, faith that there's something more than this, whatever that is. It's similar to trust, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
We're not talking about religious faith necessarily. We're just talking about the belief that, like you said, you're enough, things will work out for the best, you're doing all that you can. Same thing.
Yeah, and I think it goes along the lines of like I have one of the you're talking about my inner dialogue before. One piece of my inner dialogue that I'm trying to rewire is that I have to control everything in my life to feel safe.
Mm,
And the opposite of that is I fully trust myself and I'm enough no matter what.
mm,
And so that's where the shift comes from.
mm. Yeah, because you really have no control. Zero. It's just amazing how we think we have so much control over
Mm,
things. And
mhm.
I'll tell you one near-death experience, and you will realize that you have zero control in this life. Things will happen. And it isn't are you coming to believe that it's really more about how you handle things than what actually happens to you? It's
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, 100%.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the
I mean, I think we're,
response.
we're kind of like, this is probably going to rub some people the wrong way, but I feel like we're kind of told this cultural lie where if you work really hard and you treat people well, that you'll get everything that you want in life. And it's like, that's part of the equation. And do those things matter? Do I think you should work hard and do I think you should treat people well? Of course I do.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean that your life is going to be perfect and you're going to get everything that you want. And
Right.
I might be going to the extreme there a little bit, but like,
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of truth in that. It's like this, it's kind of a cultural thing. And, you know, there's, I feel like I've done those things and there's been so many things in my life that are outside my control that have shown up that like you talked about, I have to learn how to respond to this, how to detach from this, how to be okay when things don't look the way that I wanted them to, or
Mm,
things don't look a certain way, right? Or the outcomes don't show up when I want them to and in the way that I want them to. Right?
right.
Just operating from this place of detachment from the results as much as you can at the same time bringing optimism and hope into each moment.
Mm. If I could just share a quick story, I so understand what you're saying, and I remember a time in my own business, been in business 30 years, when I could easily say to people, I have a great reputation in town. People like working with me. I treat them with respect. I go out of my way to support clients. But why aren't I getting their business? It was just, I couldn't understand. And I got to a point where I thought, well, obviously this isn't working. I'm going to try something else. And then I realized, but it is working. Even though you might not be getting the response you want, you feel stronger in yourself and you feel more whole in yourself and you feel less chipped away because of your attitude or because of the things you've said. You feel a little bit purer and wholer. And so that's basically why I continued to work the way I always did and realized I can't expect people to see it and respond the way I want them to, but that's not the reason to not do it.
Right.
Right. You do it for yourself.
Yeah. And not
Everything is
the
always working out
attachment
for
to the
you.
outcome.
You both spoke at the same time. And
Sorry, you go ahead,
we need
Mike.
to hear them both. Mike and then Alex.
No, I just said it and detached from the outcome of it. It's like doing things the right way, but without the emotional attachment to whatever you think doing things the right way is going to get you.
Right.
I had this realization the other day about optimism and feeling, with certain things, like almost feeling exhausted from being optimistic about things. But I realized I wasn't exhausted about being optimistic. I was exhausted about being optimistic because of my attachment to what I thought optimism was going to bring me. And I was like, wow, wish I could operate with that more. So
Interesting. What did you say, Alex?
Well, I said something different, but I just want to kind of piggyback on what you just said in the world of Reiki. That's one of the things that we say is that I'm going to do this now without attachment or expectation. I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and the outcome will be what the outcome will be.
Right.
And beyond that, it's out of my control. And I do find that when I'm in spiraling from an outcome related world we live in, that I just stop and say, everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. And it grounds me and I move on because there's only so much in my control and I can only control me.
And when you say that everything is working out for me, I do believe you start to see the proof.
I can tell you this week alone, I turned around 5 different situations like that, simply from having that attitude.
Yeah,
and everything worked out for me.
It's so much better than, well, I did this because she did that. Because that's just, making somebody else responsible for the things that you do and giving them all your power. Good for you. One last question. What is your why? Mike, what's your why? What gets you up? What gets you motivated? What makes you come on this podcast?
I think there's two, I guess, like two extremes. And one is, like Alex talked about being an empath. I'm extremely empathic. And I feel like there's part one is to be in service to help people alleviate suffering in any way, shape, or form that I possibly can. And the other side of that coin is also helping people unlock potential inside of them that they didn't know existed. And so I think we can't do one without the other.
I agree 100 million%.
What's next for you? Anything you'd like to share with our audience?
What's next is just trying to practice all the things that we talked about today.
That's a full day.
Gonna have to start not going to bed, my friend.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's it. Just trying to be in the moment and practice all this.
Well, that's a great thing to want to do and have to do, and no argument here. Zero. Thank you so much for joining us again. Your words are wise, and hopefully people are listening, and if anybody would like to strengthen their practice, would you like to tell them how to reach you?
Yeah, I'm at MindShiftLabs.com, or I'm on LinkedIn or Instagram at whoismikelee. If anybody's interested in exploring keynotes, workshops, or coaching, I'm more than happy to hop on a call and see if it's in alignment.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for coming on. And thank you for just being who you are, being a light in this world. Thank you.
Thank you. I feel the same about both of you.
Thank you.
Aw.
Hey, thank you for listening to Bollotta-FIDE.
If you haven't already, please like and subscribe.
And remember to leave us your questions or comments at bollotta.com/podcast.
Bollotta-FIDE is a production of Bollotta Entertainment.
Hey, that's a lot of Bollotta. Stay engaging.